Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to go over a question from a Republican, and it deals with why the Democratic Party is grinding everything to a halt over a topic that they just don't get. They don't understand why it's such a big deal. And I think that this is a genuine small government conservative. They still exist, a few of them anyway. And I think it's in good faith. So we're going to go through it. I'm going to answer the question. And I'm going to provide a challenge to all Republicans. Okay. I'm one of those Republicans who watch your channel for explanations of what libs are thinking. I have a genuine question I hope you answer. Before that, I want to say I don't mind trans people. What people do with their body isn't my business, but they're a very small population percentage-wise. Can you explain why liberals are so dead set on fighting Republicans on this? It seems there are more important things. I honestly don't give a care what bathroom people use or what pronoun they use. But I also don't see the point in grinding everything to a halt over it. See that phrase? It's not my business. You ever want to know if you're dealing with somebody who is really a small government conservative? Listen for that phrase. If you're talking about social issues and you hear that phrase, that's a cue to tune in, because they very well might be a small government conservative. And what this means is they may absolutely despise whatever the activity is, but that's not the government's place. Whatever it is that's being done, you're doing that on your side of the fence, and strong fences make good neighbors. So it's not my business. I don't want to get involved in it. Generally speaking, these are people, when it comes to social issues, they keep their opinion to themselves. These are very much judge not lest ye be judged type of people. Okay. Can you explain why liberals are so dead set on fighting Republicans on this? It's a small population, percentage-wise. You're right. You're right. Which means they can't fight for themselves. They don't have the numbers, right? In an electoral setting, they don't have the numbers. So somebody has to stand up for their right to do what they want to do on their side of the fence. You've said it yourself. You don't care what bathroom people use. You don't care what pronouns they use. It's not your business, right? You're just out there trying to live your life and be polite. Just guessing. So the Democratic opposition to this legislation is based on the idea that people have the right to live their life as they choose. That's it. That's why they're doing it. But here's the question. Is it the Democratic Party that's introducing legislation about this? It's not, is it? It's the Republican Party. It's the Republican Party that is introducing legislation to curtail people's rights, to curtail people's ability to do things on their side of the fence. You have Republican legislation trying to micromanage what books can go into a library now. I mean, I would imagine that if your 5 or 6 year old or 10-year old or whatever is getting books from the library, and as a parent you don't know what they are, that's on you. That is on you. There's a bunch of stuff in a library children shouldn't access. It's up to the parent to make that decision. And I'm sure you would agree with that, because you don't want the government involved in parenting, right? It's the same thing. It isn't the Democratic Party grinding everything to a halt on this. It's the Republican Party trying to curtail people and trying to inject themselves into somebody else's fenced-in area and tell them what they can do. You don't want it done to you. I'm certain from this message, you don't want it done to you. Neither do most libs. So they're standing up for that small percentage of people because they don't have the voting power to do it on their own. Here's a challenge I have for you, because you're right. There are things that should be more pressing. This shouldn't be a topic. People should just be allowed to live their lives. I think you would agree with that. And there are topics that the government really should be focusing on. So here's the challenge. Go through Republican legislation, and with each piece, ask yourself, does this make your life better, or does it just make somebody else's life worse? Ask yourself that question. And if you answer it honestly, you're going to find out that all of this culture war nonsense is just something to distract you from the fact that the Republican Party doesn't have any policy ideas anymore. Those big issues, they don't have a clue as to how to address them. They complain, they talk about them, but they don't do anything about it. But they can't be seen to be doing nothing. So they introduce cultural war legislation to make other people's lives worse in the hopes that their base will look down on them and say, well, I'm in a better place than them. It's not the Democratic Party that you're mad at here. If you go through their legislation and you actually look at it, none of it's designed to help you. The person who is stereotypically a small government conservative, none of it's to help you. It's to hurt somebody else and make you think they're doing something. They're not your friend. They're not the Republican Party that they used to be. I know there are a whole lot of people that are going to be like, Republicans are always bad. And I mean, okay, but I would imagine there was a point in time that for small government conservatives, they at least did something for you. They don't do anything for you anymore because they're not small government, that they want to inject themselves into everything. They don't want to represent, they want to rule. This is a perfect example of it. Take me up on that challenge. Go through the legislation that your representative has introduced or sponsored, co-sponsored. Look at your state legislature and ask yourself, does this stuff help you or does it just hurt someone else? And then ask why they're grinding everything to a halt to hurt their fellow American. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.